Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT. I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, hope you guys having a great day wherever you're watching this video. Make sure you smash that like button. And we're going to talk heavyweight boxing here for a second. Now, we are a couple of months away from the massive rematch between Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz. The first fight was absolutely fun. I remember we were live here on YouTube. I went absolutely nuts. It was great. It was a truly great night of boxing that night. But Andy Ruiz that night, he shook up the whole heavyweight division because prior to that fight, it was the big three at heavyweight. It was Wilder, it was Joshua, it was Fury. Not in that particular order, but you know, it was those three guys. And then there was everybody else, but then he kind of put himself, and now it's the big four, you know, and maybe even Joshua. Joshua's looking on the outside in. And, you know, Anthony Joshua at that time, he was that guy in boxing. He was selling out soccer stadiums, 80,000, 90,000, 100,000, like it was nothing. Every fight. Came to New York City, saw at the Garden in his American debut. You know, it was a British invasion over there, pretty much. And Andy Ruiz put a big dent in his career plans, and now he has to gain his heavyweight titles back. And you know, I have this saying for myself in life. You know, I always say, you know, I have no problems handling failure. It's just how handling success is more important than how I handle failure, because a lot of times success can expose people more than failure. And it's the same thing with, I feel like Andy Ruiz. Now, look, I'm not going to sit here and act like I know Andy Ruiz. I don't. Never met him. I talked to him on Instagram one time back in January, but I never had the pleasure of meeting him. But Andy Ruiz, just if we look at what's been going on with him since the Joshua fight, he's been living his best life, man, and I'm not knocking that, because he struggled. So if you struggle, you know, you should be afforded the opportunities, if you earned it, to live decently. He's went ahead. He's bought his mom a house. Oh no, not a house. He bought himself a house. He bought a mansion in Mexico. He bought his mom a car. He bought himself a Rolls Royce. He's doing the big. You know, he had for his birthday. He had a bunch of celebs there, and he had naked sushi girls. And Andy Ruiz is living it up, man. But at the same time, you know, I've seen a couple of red flags, and basically in this video, what I wanted to talk about was, and ask the question, because I think it's a question that does need to be asked, is Andy Ruiz heading towards becoming the next Buster Douglas? And what I mean when I say that is, you know, Buster Douglas, when he fought Mike Tyson in 1990, at that time Mike Tyson was on top of the world. He was one of the most famous people on the planet. And Buster Douglas upset the apple cart and stopped him and handed him his first L, you know, and became undisputed heavyweight champion in one of the biggest upsets in sports history. He then turns around his next fight, his first defense, and you know, it's kind of unfair that they made him defend his belt against this person, but his first defense against Evander Holyfield, he comes in 15 pounds overweight, because Buster Douglas, going into the Tyson fight, weighed 231 pounds. When he fought Holyfield, he was 246 pounds. So he looked like a different person from fight to fight. He looked completely different. You know, he looked like he had got comfortable. He had got comfortable with the success that he had achieved in the boxing ring, beating Mike Tyson. And I feel like, look, I'm not gonna say that for Andy Ruiz, but I mean, look, all signs are kind of pointing to that. He's spent a lot of money, which, look, I'm not here to watch nobody's money, but I'm just pointing out the obvious. It's out there. I'm not saying anything that's not already out there in the news. He spent a lot of money. He's showing off a lot more on Instagram. And on top of that, if you go back and you read some of these articles from August, like they were talking, Danny Raphael wrote a whole article on Joshua Ruiz and the negotiations at the time in August. And there's a part in there where they asked Manuel Robles, his trainer, if he's been in touch with Andy Ruiz, and he had said that he had seen him a couple of times, but then he said, I quote, "He's not in great shape, but he's hitting the gym back in home in Imperial. He's running the treadmill, but obviously we haven't fully begun training camp. Once we do, we have close to 4 months to get ready for a fight. That's enough time for him to get in shape. Let's hope we can get him back in the gym real soon and get him going again." Ruiz, not too long after that, went on Instagram and was saying that he has to get skinny. So look, I'm not putting it past Andy Ruiz to Buster Douglas his way in this, to become the next Buster Douglas. Like I'm not putting it past him, because It just looks like it to me. From the outside looking at it, looks like that, and who knows? But the way he's talking, the way Manuel Robles is talking, this is back in August, so things could be different now. But this is from the way they're talking. Andy Ruiz, and I know it's heavyweight division, so it's a bit different, but Andy Ruiz is like he's gonna. It sounds like he has to lose quite a lot of weight to get down to where he wants to be at. And on the other side of this equation is Anthony Joshua. This is Anthony Joshua who, let's have it right, Anthony Joshua in his career thus far, he has exceeded every expectation that was set before him. Nobody thought, or I don't want to say nobody, but nobody. When he came out the Olympics, Anthony Joshua, I had to make this very clear. When Anthony Joshua came out the Olympics in 2012 and won that gold medal, which people thought he got gifted, nobody thought he was going to become unified champion of the heavyweight division as quick as he did, and then nobody thought he was going to defend it as many times as he did against solid opposition, because there are some solid names on that resume. Joseph Parker, Alexander Povetkin, guys like that, no matter what nobody says now about Anthony Joshua, the fact is he exceeded expectations, and he pretty much set himself up for life. Anthony Joshua could retire right now, never throw another punch, never throw another jab, and he'll be set for life because that's how much money he made in boxing. But he's extremely hungry. He's extremely focused. He looks extremely determined. And I always said that, especially here in America, we love a good comeback story. And Anthony Joshua has a chance to write his own comeback story and become two-time heavyweight champion of the world by defeating Andy Ruiz. So it's an interesting dynamic, but this is a question and a video I've been pondering making for a while because I just been watching Andy Ruiz from afar. I've been watching him on Instagram, and mind you, I'm not like one of these people who just started following Andy Ruiz. Like I was making videos with Andy Ruiz in 2016 when he fought like Joseph Parker, and even before that. Andy Ruiz has always been like a low-key kind of humble guy, and now he's not really acting like that. So it's definitely something to think about. And to be fair, if I was in this position, I'm not so sure. I might handle it the same way he's handling right now. Because I remember at the beginning of this year, Andy Ruiz had like 60,000 Instagram followers. Now the dude's like at 1 million. He's like 1 million. He's become a star overnight. And if he wins this fight against Anthony Joshua, I've said it before and I'll say it again. If he wins this fight against Anthony Joshua, Andy Ruiz is going to become the biggest star in boxing because to become Mexican heavyweight champion of the world, the first Mexican heavyweight champion of the world, Mexico's had a lot of great fighters over the years. And to become the first Mexican heavyweight champion, you already saw what him beating Anthony Joshua once did. So imagine if he does it a second time. It's something to think about. But I'm really worried for him because it just looks like there's a different dynamic in his life. Looking from afar, and then also just the comments from his trainer saying that he's not in great shape. But then again, Andy Ruiz is never in great shape, so we don't know. But he said he's not in great shape, and we know that Andy Ruiz has been eating like an MF. He's been eating, like just eating. So, it is what it is. We'll see what happens. A lot of times we've seen this. We see this a lot in boxing. Like I remember the same thing happened with Tank Davis recently. Tank Davis, there was an Instagram video where Tank Davis had like a gut. And then he lost the weight. So some fighters know how to balloon up and come back down, but it's not good. It's not good to balloon up and come back down because if you do that enough times, your reflexes will slow down and you will not be what you were in your previous fight. So that's the worry for Andy Ruiz, and I'm worried about the hunger of Andy Ruiz because look, it was so easy for him to be hungry his last fight because he was a late replacement opponent. Very few people, if any, were picking him to beat Anthony Joshua. And he was fighting for all the belts. He was fighting at Madison Square Garden. Everything lined up for him perfectly. Now it's different. Now he's got a couple M's to his name. He's bought a mansion. He's got a Rolls Royce. He bought his mom a car. He probably ticked every box. He probably ticked almost every box on his bucket list in these last 4 or 5 months. And they're not fighting at Madison Square Garden. They're not even fighting in England. They're not even fighting in LA. They're fighting in freaking Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, of all places. That doesn't sound too enticing or fun to be fighting in Saudi Arabia, in the desert. But it's a fight. So if the ring is a square, it shouldn't really matter no matter where you fight. But yeah, man, I just wanted to bring this out there because Buster Douglas. The same thing happened to Buster Douglas in the early '90s when he fought Mike Tyson, and he won. He was on cloud nine. He made history. And he pretty much put his name in the history books. And then he came up. He came the next fight against Evander Holyfield, and Buster Douglas looked like he ate Buster Douglas. Like he looked like he ate himself. That's how fat he was in the Evander Holyfield fight. So. And then you saw what Evander did to him. It's already hard enough fighting Evander Holyfield when you're in top shape. So why would you fight Evander Holyfield when you're in piss poor shape? Because Riddick Bowe had a hard time with Evander. George Foreman lost to Evander. All these guys have problems with Evander. You cannot F around with someone like Evander. And Buster Douglas F'd around with someone like Evander. And Evander got one of the most devastating knockouts of his career. So I'm not going to be the least bit surprised if Andy Ruiz Buster Douglas is this fight, but I'm hoping not, because I want to see the best fight possible. So I just want to get that out there. You guys let me know what you think in the comments down below about Andy Ruiz. Will he Buster Douglas the rematch and fade into obscurity, or will he do what he did the first fight, fold up Anthony Joshua and stick his flag in the ground and announce himself as the king of the heavyweight division? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Take the time to subscribe. Like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just Gift from Daniels. Until next time, take care, guys.